Everyone. Thank you for joining us for Conscious Heart Solutions. Today I have my guest, Miss Beautiful Emma I always mess your last name up. Broomfeld? How do you say your last name?
Broomhall.
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 Why do I want to say Broom? Okay. Miss Emma Broomhall. Today our topic is on shadow work, and we have agreed to co-create together to the best of our ability and bring a series of discussions around shadow work. So you will see in the future more of these discussions between Emma and I, in hopes to help others, help ourselves by helping others, uh, learn more about our own shadow and how we can transmute and heal and release and become aware of our own behaviors and how our ego self, the shadow self, gets involved in our everyday life and the choices we make, and how we can use it to our benefit rather than deeming it as something negative, to really just self-inquire and make the changes needed for us to live a more authentic and genuine life for ourselves and our loved ones and the people we engage. So welcome, Emma. Thank you. I get a little tongue tied. I know what I want to say, but I really want this show to be really a platform for you to share with people your knowledge, the wisdom, your own expertise by self-actualization that you've already done in your own work, because I admire you and I find a lot of your posts on Facebook very valuable. Definitely for me, I find great value in them, and I trust that other people will also be able to resonate. And so therefore I'd like to open the show up, and there's a couple things I was going to read and have you maybe elaborate or share your perspective on it, and then we can move into whatever you have lined up for this discussion today. Is that?
I've got plenty of notes because I love this.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I just did a little pull up on Google, nothing fancy, just to see if I could share a little something just to give an idea of shadow work. And there's a gentleman, Scott Jeffrey, so I definitely want to give credit to him. This is his information, that says the shadow is a psychological term for everything we cannot see in ourselves. And prior to recording, I had mentioned this to Emma. So that is one thing that I'd like to hear you elaborate on. And then there's another part where exploring your shadow can lead to greater
authenticity. Yeah, I know.
Yes. Yeah, I get tongue tied with that one.
So do I.
Yes, creativity, energy, and personal awakening. This introspective process is essential for reaching mature adulthood. And I appreciate that comment.
Yeah.
Now I will open it up to you and allow you to elaborate. I appreciate you again. Thank you for coming on Conscious Heart Solutions.
Oh, Ada, you are so welcome. You know, it always excites me to come and talk to you and talk about this subject. I absolutely love it. So, okay, the first point, the shadow is very much the unowned and sort of hidden away aspects of ourselves that we hide about ourselves, that we that are in our blind spots, that our ego keeps hidden away from us, and then because of our shadows being hidden away from us, this causes or creates behavior patterns and how we act and how we react in you know, the 3D reality. So yes, our shadow is hidden in our blind spots, but only until we start to dive in and do that self-inquiry and then bring these things out into the open, bring them into awareness, where we can then, you know, accept it, love it, release it and heal from it. So yes, our shadow is hidden in our blind spots, but through different exercises we can excavate these and bring them out into the awareness. So they won't always be hidden forever. They are findable.
Okay. So how does one begin shadow work? Like, yeah.
Well, it's a really, well, to be quite honest, the first step is wanting to. The first step is becoming aware of yourself and realizing there are things about you, ways about you, or things, how you react, or how your emotions are, or how your mind is. When we become aware of these things and want to make a change, that's where shadow work comes in, because it's only there for people who are ready. Any kind of personal development work, any kind of inner transformational work is only there for when people are ready. And so when for me personally, it was I was going through a terrible time in my life, and I realized I wasn't in the best emotional state or mental state to deal what was going on around me, and my whole demeanor, reaction, I was completely lost in myself, or I had completely lost myself. And I realized I had to draw a line in the sand. I had to do something about this, but I didn't really know where to start. And I mean, there's so many affirmations you can do. There's only so many meditations you can do before we realize we have to go deeper. And for me, I was introduced to a wonderful mentor of mine, Sienna Leia. She lives in Ecuador. She's an absolute powerhouse of a woman. She's been doing this work for more than 50 years. I still go to her on a regular basis, because obviously my learning is always ongoing. Even though I mentor other people, I still need my mentors, because we do have some shadows that usually it's only our friends or that our mentors can see, and they're the ones that really help us and guide us into those places. So where we can do a lot of self-inquiry, everybody needs a little helping hand every now and then. So shadow work for me was a real starting point to really help me become aware of the behaviors I was doing and why I was doing those behaviors, and turning that mirror on yourself. You've really got to want to do the work, because we are faced with so many things when we turn that mirror upon ourselves. We're faced with fear, we're faced with terror, we're faced with loathing, we're faced with love and acceptance, we're faced with our own power, and so many people are afraid to look at so many aspects of those things. So yes, it can bring a lot of tears, but ultimately, as you said, when we move through these things and process these traumas and process these feelings that we're having, or like I say, diving back in from behaviors, going into thoughts and emotions, going into trauma, because there are steps back to actually dive into the shadow. So in the first place, really, or the easiest place, is to start with the ego, but we'll get to that. But when we move through these shadows, when we heal these traumas, move through these processes and emotionally release ourselves, yes, I can actually really honest bona fide testify to, yes, our superpowers come online. We become more alert, we become more clear, our intuition comes online, connection to our hearts and to everything else. More and more of this comes online. And yes, the more layers that we unfold and just sort of peel back, the more this charge comes into our bodies, the more embodied we are. Because when we are so frightened and traumatized, what happens is really our spirit wants to leave the body. It's so afraid to be in here in this body because of so many traumas. It's frightened of dying. There's so much terror going on. And this is why sometimes we feel so kind of out there. We feel kind of disorientated. We feel like we're just disjointed. We're not centered. And that's what it is. We're not centered because our spirit is not really centered in our body. That's what it means to be, out of whack kind of thing. So when we're traumatized, our spirit wants to leave our body and fears being in the body because the pain is so much. And so when we move through these things and, like I say, heal ourselves, like I say, the spirit becomes more embodied in our hearts rather than just kind of like wanting to flee all the time. So yes, our charge does come back online, our energy comes back online, our superpowers come back online, our own thinking comes back online. We find out more about who we are, really who we are, about what our passions are. We can tune into our purpose. It's pretty amazing when you move through these, just move through the exercises and really get to understand yourself.
I have a question. Would you say that shadow or the dark night of the soul is like the beginnings of recognizing the shadow in ourselves?
Pretty much, yes, because really, when we are unconscious, all those thoughts and all the mind chatter just kind of sits in the background, and we're just, if you like, in the forefront, just in our conscious mind, going around in the washing machine of life. Yeah, just going around in the washing machine of life. When we have the dark night of the soul, it's when all of those thoughts that we've been ignoring all of our lives, our ego chatter and everything like that starts to come to the forefront, and it's all you can hear. It's all that you are aware of, and all of a sudden you think you're going crazy, or oh my God, and it's, you just don't know where to go, what to do, who to talk to, what to say, because people are just going to look at you and just glaze over, think you're crazy, go nuts. And that's the dark night of the soul, when we go from being unconscious but just living in the conscious mind and going through the washing machine of life, to really becoming conscious, where the unconscious becomes to our forefront. So it's a real turnaround of conscious unconscious. And so the dark night of the soul is when we realize all of this is going on, and then it starts affecting us because we just become so aware of it. But most people, well, this is the start. This is where this is where a lot of people get frightened or confused. They think they need, they've got mental health problems. I'm not taking anything away from people who do have mental health, but a lot of these problems just stem because the unconscious is becoming conscious, and people don't know how to deal with it, because as children, especially our generation, we were not taught emotional intelligence. We were not taught anything, how to deal with emotions, to express emotions. We were always shut down, speak when you're spoken to, don't be silly, don't be a crybaby, yada, yada, yada. And so we never understood, never learned how to fully express ourselves. So shadow work is again, an absolutely amazing tool to dive into us and get us to find our voice and get us to express. So yes, it's such a multifaceted tool that brings out so many things that I personally didn't even know I had, feelings I had, charge I had, skills I had, and which is why I do all the work now. And to really align with my purpose. It's such a pretty amazing thing. Yes. But like I say, the dark night of the soul is, it can be very scary. I know it can be very scary. But all it is thoughts and emotions. You know what I mean? There is nothing outside of ourselves that we need to control or fix. I've said that for many years. You know what I mean? There's nothing outside of ourselves. That's a pretty
powerful statement, Miss Emma. A lot of people would definitely feel challenged by that statement, but
this is what the word is.
Yeah.
This is it. I am triggering. I am challenging. I have been told so many times that I ask hard, deep questions. And it's like, well, look, if I have to ask these questions because you need to be honest with yourself. You need to be honest with me. Otherwise it doesn't work. Sure. Otherwise it doesn't work. And absolutely. So there is nothing outside of ourselves that we need to control or fix. But the dark night of the soul can be very scary, and I understand that. But if you are brave enough to reach out and just say, look, I've got all this shit going on, I've got all this stuff going on, and I just need to talk to somebody. And so many people are so afraid to even do just that because they're afraid of being labeled crazy. But really, it's just their unconscious mind and all their traumas and all their needs that haven't been met just coming to the surface. It's all of our little children. It's all of our little children coming to the surface, which then goes on to the comment that you made about us maturing ourselves, because shadow work really helps us realize that mummy and daddy aren't coming to save us. They're not going to love us in the way that we need, as much as we put them up there on the pedestals and, we love our parents, and all that kind of thing. They are not coming to save us. They are not going to love us in the way that we want. And that can be really, really confronting for people. And this is why shadow work, we turn that mirror on ourselves. And this is where we grow ourselves up. We get to be our own mother and father. We get to give ourselves all that love that we didn't have as children. We get to meet our own needs, and then we mature through this process. I mean, believe you me, it's like 10 years ago, I used to go around acting like a 2-year-old all the time, spitting and fighting and complaining if people didn't do things my way instantly. And I honestly, when I realized this, I was like, oh my God. And like, I felt foolish. I felt, people must look at me and think I'm a complete idiot, you know. And it's like, and like I say, all these things come up in our faces, you know. We can feel foolish, we can sort of think back to things we've done and feel really regretful or feel really humble. And because we're absolutely amazing multidimensional beings, we are built to feel and experience all of these emotions, the good, the bad, the indifferent, the funny, the down, and the just downright outrageous, all of it. And shadow work is, again, is something that helps us to start feeling, because so many of us, well, no, all of us, everybody on the planet right now is having their shadow and their inner child triggered. I don't care who you are, you know, even me, as much as all the work I do, everybody is getting triggered right now. And so I was going back to, so yeah, nobody is left out of this. Everybody can take something from this work, you know what I mean? And this is where, you know, this mass awakening is happening, because people are just having the dark night of the soul, and all of a sudden it's like they're either coming out and going, oh my God, really? And waking up and opening up their eyes. And we do get we are getting this divide right now where people are kind of know something's going on, but then sort of like digging their heels in a little bit more, because they're just not ready. So well,
yeah, I just want to
please,
I'm in for a minute. I feel like I've noticed just in my area where I live in Jacksonville, Florida, it's kind of real clear who's really going along with, you know, going with the flow and looking forward and doing, you know, looking forward to moving and evolving and growing. And then those that are just an absolute, I don't know if I want to use the word denial, or just unaware, or asleep.
Everything. All of the above.
That's
all
right.
Of the above.
And another thing that you mentioned real quick, and then I'll, of course, sit back and listen some more, but I noticed that people, and even for myself, it became more aware of my own behavior of doing this when I noticed it so much in others. And that is complaining all the time, right? I'm really not a complainer. Like if I'm complaining about something, or I'm, you know, bitching about something, I'll just say it that way. It's usually after I've the same thing that's happened over and over, and I'm like, just like, what the hell, right? But I noticed it in myself. Like I recognize it in other people, and I realized, I heard somebody say that people that complain a lot are looking for other people to take care of their needs, where they don't want to take responsibility for their own self and their own well-being. So I had to have a look, just because it was an aha moment for me. Like, wait a minute, where do I do that? Where do I expect other people to take care of my needs, or to, you know, assist me in ways that I should be able to really own and do on my own? There's nothing wrong with asking for help. I reach out to you, I ask for help.
Absolutely.
But I'm talking about being willing to do the, like what you said, the work. You have to be willing. No, nothing's going to be just here, everything is done for you, and now you're evolving. You gain nothing by not doing the inner work. I will tell everybody that now, because I really wanted, you know, I went through a series, Dark Night of the Soul. I've shared some of that with you, and I look forward to working with you, by the way. I have other things going on in my life, but I surely will make it my business to really get on a schedule with you. I just adore you, Emma. I really do. And I admire you. And I see that, you know, you have empowered yourself. I consider myself to be pretty empowered, but there's still things that I'm challenged with that I need to be, So,
same.
But it's just like, you know, expecting somebody else to go to the gym for you and work out and you reap the benefits. It doesn't work that way, guys.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
So
no.
Please go ahead, continue to elaborate. I know you said you had some notes. I would love to.
Yes, there's two things I just want to touch on before I go through my notes. But yes, it's all of us have been so traumatized in our childhood. Like I say, nobody gets away with this. We are all so terrified that we shut ourselves down, which means we shut ourselves down to such an extreme that we don't actually feel. The spirit is kind of outside the body going, I don't want anything to do with this because it's too painful to be in here. And then we as humans just kind of shut our emotions down, and suppress them, and push them all the way down. And this is where they're stored. And if we don't allow them expression or get them out, this is all this suppressed emotion, all this suppressed trauma is where the behaviors and the acting out comes from. Yeah. So because we're not owning or expressing any of this, we act it out in anger or depression or woe is me, or, you know, intimidation, all manner of things. And part of what you were saying is, it's like when people are complaining, it's not just a case of like, come and help me, but it's like, give me your energy. I want to take from you. I want to suck some energy from you because I feel so bad and I can see you feel so good. I want to suck some of that. I want to suck some of that. I want some of that. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that going on. And I'll let you into a little secret now. This is a a very, very good exercise, and one that I use in my course. When the easiest way and the very simple way to access your own awareness is if you ever find yourself complaining about somebody else, just like you did there, but you realize, actually, I've just done that. I do that. Yeah, when our ego wants to point the finger at somebody, right, and go, oh, they did this, she did that, oh, they did this to me and they made me feel that. See this one finger pointing at them? You the only reason that you recognize anything in anybody else is because you have that in yourself. You have these three fingers here pointing right back at you. So, and when I learned this, I never could in good conscience really complain about anybody again. I was just like, because, oh yeah, I'm pointing the oh shh. Yeah. Oh, she's, oh no, can't do that. Oh, he's doing, no, I can't say that either. And so when we realize and truly realize that whatever we see in anybody else, the reason we see it is because we have it in ourselves. And that is such a good exercise to become aware of the ego, aware of what it's saying, and a good access point to start diving into that shadow. So there's a little trick and a little secret for you. And
well, I appreciate that. Well, I do think about that. And there's still a schism in me because there are some behaviors that I know for myself that I just don't feel I have, but that's okay. I mean, I've heard this before, of course. I'm not saying that there aren't aspects of myself that probably that's why I recognize it in other people, but if it is, it's something so hidden that I need to be able to figure out and how to bring it.
It's a process. Yeah, it's a process.
And that's, hopefully what I'll be able to, that kind of work do with you, because not that I surely don't think that I'm, I know that there's more uncovering, unveiling, releasing and healing and so forth. But even I was talking to a few people and my sister mentioned this to me and said, Ida, have you ever thought that there's nothing else to heal, that maybe you can just take it easy for a little while and stop looking for things to fix in yourself? Because that could become another thing where we forget about life, we forget about joy, we forget about our creative expression, or not forget, I'm being facetious, but we don't take part in living and showing up for our own life anymore. We're constantly looking to find something to work on, and there's got to be a balance in it.
For me, once I got the process going, it's just a natural process thing for me. It's like I don't necessarily go looking for things, but every day is an opportunity to see the beauty in other people, see the messages from other people, see what is actually being aware and what is actually really going on in your life, because everything that is going on in your life is an absolute reflection of your inner world. So for instance, if you think like in scarcity and that kind of thing, and you've not got a very good money mindset, and you think, oh, this is too much, I can't afford that, I don't have this, if you have that mindset, the mind is a very, very powerful thing, and the mind then gets the emotions going, and your heart starts resonating. And if you come from scarcity, the universe will just throw at you things to keep you broke, things to keep you worried, things to keep you in scarcity. And mindset work, again, something else that we do is in shadow work, is to turn that around. So really a little bit of NLP in there, actually, a little bit of neuro-linguistic programming, but really to understand the patterns and thoughts that you have in our minds, stop them, yeah, and then really turn around them, not necessarily into positive affirmations, but turn them around into, like, you know, if you're thinking you can't do something, but then turn around and give it 5 reasons as to actually why you can. You know, and again, this takes work, and this takes practice. It takes consistency over days and weeks. It takes 21 days, 28 days to actually create a new habit, but it takes up to 67 to get rid of the old one. So there's
interesting. I didn't know that. Very good.
There's a period in the middle where there's a crossover, that where if you're not consistent, you will just slip back into the old ways, and the old programming will carry on. So that's why you have to be consistent. There's a lap over, and then you start bringing in that new energy, that new frequency, that new train of thought. So there's and this is where the work comes in. And again, people can be a little bit inconsistent. They think, oh, they can't be asked. They just want people to do it for them. But it's like, ask yourself, how much do you want a life on your terms? How much do you want a life of choice? How much do you want to be successful? How much do you want to be in the best relationship you can? How much do you want to improve yourself? It's like, if these things are really important to you, then get up off your ass. It's just, I agree.
Yes, I agree. Well, it's interesting you're saying that. I just recently, I quit smoking cigarettes March 3rd.
Oh, well
I'm very proud of myself. And I do offer a service, foot detoxes for clients. I have a small little thing going, and it's working well for me right now. I definitely, I decided to take on a new gig, and I shared that with you. I don't need to get into it right now, but it was a matter of saying, okay, either you're going to go all in or keep sitting on your ass and do nothing. Like, what are you doing, Ida? Because I have so many ideas, different things I want to do, and I couldn't get my first foot forward. Like, with what direction I'm going in. This is something, what I've chosen to do is something I never in a million years thought I would ever be interested in, or even though I enjoy beauty, and I don't need to share what it is right now. I'll wait till I get myself going. But anyways, it's exciting, and I'm so happy to have reached out to you, and thank you for that confirmation to go for it. Not that, I knew it in my own self, but it's nice to get that little, support from people that we trust and
yes.
respect and value. And so, yeah, changing the habits and behaviors. And I never knew about the 60 something days, but it's been over 90 days since I quit smoking cigarettes, and I do not have any intention of going back. I've gained some weight back that I worked hard to lose, but that's okay. I'll do it again. I would much rather not smoke, have a little extra few pounds than smoke cigarettes. So, and I will get on top of that. But go ahead, please continue, Emma. I enjoy listening. I know people are going to find value in this information, and especially as we go on, in future segments, I'm looking forward to really helping people, and maybe they'll reach out to you. I hope some people will reach out and say, I'd like to work with you. If not, they can at least listen to these videos and become more familiar and where to begin. So.
Hopefully just to be able to even make people aware that these things exist, aware that there is a way to understand ourselves, control our mind, turn it around, not be so afraid of it, not be so fearful of actually ourselves when there's no need to be. The dark night of the soul really is, it's not the dark night of the soul at all, really. It's just our soul actually calling out, and we can actually hear it. You know what I mean? For the first time, and we can actually hear it, you know, and and then all of a sudden it's like, well, are you going to start listening to it? You can hear it, but are you going to start listening to it? So, you know what I mean? Again, you've got to be very, very willing. And sorry.
No, I was going to say, do you think, people have an awakening, right? I mean, I've had one, and I know that you had one, and I think we have several throughout our life. I don't think it's just a one-time thing, but our initial awakening, like, wait a minute, there's work to do. You're not just here to wake up every day, 9 to 5, go to work, build a house, have a dog, picket fence, the big house, fancy car, and whatever. Like, we're here to spiritually evolve and grow and become the highest learned being we can in this lifetime, right? But do you think that that there are those that maybe have awakenings and then have a real difficult time and choose to go back to sleep, if you will, like don't do the inner work, and they find themselves in this
well the thing is, I don't think once we awaken and once we see things, we can't unsee them. But we can go into what is called cognitive dissonance, which is like everything happening around us is actually challenging our beliefs and our belief system that we've held all of our lives, and then something's happening to challenge that. And the people, one of the reasons why people struggle so much is because it's like, hang on a minute, I want to hang on to this, but I'm seeing this and I don't know what to do, and I can't go back to sleep, but I don't want to do that either, and they're just stuck in this complete limbo. And and really this again where I feel a lot of mental health problems come in, because they just don't reach out for help. They don't actually understand what's going on with them, and that it's actually them, and that they can just have methods and tools to calm down, take control of ourselves, understand what's going on. But like I say, if you're stuck in that limbo and you don't want to do the inner work, that's where resistance sets in, and conflict within ourselves, cognitive dissonance. It's such again, it can send anybody in a kind of multitude of different directions, depending on their own environment, trauma, upbringing, and every, because nobody's a textbook case. No one is, which is why even though counselors and and all those kind of like mainstream healers, I have a lot of respect for them, but they look at people like textbooks, and you can't do that because everybody's individual. And I think mainstream counselors and psychologists miss out this aspect, or this important piece of our spirit, of our emotions. They think, oh, just think a few affirmations and say this and you're going to be all right. And it's like, no, you can't just say, oh, I'm worthy, and oh, I've got lots of self-belief, and then woof, and you're there. It doesn't work like that.
No, I absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
They tell you, oh, just understand this and you'll be fine. And it's like, well, somebody can intellectually understand anything, but if they haven't felt it, if they haven't moved through it energetically, if they haven't moved through it emotionally, expressed it, that stuff ain't going nowhere.
That's what you just said, and I think it's very important to repeat that. If they have not moved through it energetically, that is a huge statement right there. We cannot transmute or heal or become aware of our own behavior that our own essence, our own if we soul. Don't slow down, sit down, listen to our own inner voice. How do you do that?
And feel, and actually feel.
That's right. And feel.
Bring that emotion out, because like I say, we are so used to suppressing that. I mean, how many times have we, have we gone to cry, but then swallowing it back down and holding it in our throats, and then
I did that today.
Swallowing all that emotion, swallowing all that back down, rather than just completely letting it out. And we've done that all of our lives. Can you imagine how much stuff is stuck down there?
But
And
you
then
know
we're
what
all
though, Emma,
shut
I
down.
don't know what it, like there's times, and I can't be the only one that feels this way. I mean, I'm surely not trying to project out, but I imagine there's times when I'm feeling something and I don't know what I'm feeling. Like I don't know what it is. And then you know, I'll sit and think, okay, what did I just listen to? Or what thoughts were I just think, you know, where is this coming from? Sometimes it's not ours. Sometimes we are picking up collective energy and we're transmuting for the collective.
Yes.
I really believe that.
Yeah.
I own my own, but you know, like I found myself today choked up because I want um, unity and harmony within and without in my own life. And I do work and aspire to become the best version of myself every day. So there are times when I either choke up in joy and just thankfulness, like thank you, I'm so thankful, and it gets me, you know, teary-eyed and just in gratitude, you know, especially if I allow myself to go back to remembering things that, you know, but there's gonna come a day I'm not gonna, you know, that's just not come a day. It has already come, but it's just a matter of letting go of the program, the memories. They're not who I am or a part of my life today.
Yeah.
Not who I am. What
No.
we've done is not who we are. These are experiences to grow our soul, to learn, to expand. And I have to remind myself of that. I think I've done a pretty good job of healing that, but I'm sure that there's, you know, remnants that need to still, you know, come to the surface, I suppose. But
Yeah.
oh, I love listening to you. Please continue. Yes.
Okay, well, before I carry on with the shadow thing, just what you've touched on there, when we accumulate all this memory and all this history, I'm actually doing a course with my partner right now, and it's called How to Live a Good Life. And the last session we had, and I hope I get this right. It's a Hindi word. It's a Sanskrit word. It's called oh God. Oh, I've just had it on the tip of my tongue there. Parigraha or something like that. Anyway, it's a beautiful word, but basically it means the non-accumulation of things. So it doesn't mean, you know, so it's the non-accumulation of negative thoughts. It's the non-accumulation of stories and history so that we can actually bring ourselves into the moment and live a more simpler life. That doesn't mean you can't accumulate wealth, you know, because if you accumulate wealth and you're going to do something, you know, wonderful with it, then, you know, it's an ongoing sort of balance and moving forward in a movement of things. But the point being really was just the non-accumulation of stuff. And we carry around all this baggage, we carry around all this negativity, we carry around all these things, all these beliefs that, and all these traumas that we made mean about our lives and about us. And really, like I say, 99.99% of it is just completely untrue. And it's our job to sift through that, to dive into that and really realize what's true for us, what isn't, what is useful to us, and what we can let fall away. And again, this is the work, and there are many ways you can do this. Like I say, there's yoga, there's breath work, there's meditation, there's shadow work, there's womb work, there's heart connection work. There's so many different modalities, and if shadow work doesn't resonate with you and you do want to do inner work, then obviously go and find something that really resonates with you, or, you know, find a teacher or a mentor that really resonates with you and can really bring that shine out of you, because that's the most important thing. Because if you find something and you feel it's a chore and you don't enjoy it, or get it, because it can be a bit clunky and a bit awkward at first, you know, really sort of get it. It's like trying to learn to drive a car at first, you know what I mean? You're kind of jumping and jacking all over, you're stalling, and, you know, it's all over the place. But once you get going, you've got that beautiful drive on. It's like, right, yeah, I'm getting, you know, I'm getting used to this. So
Love it.
It does become a beautiful process, but it can be a bit clunky at the start. I've forgotten my point now, because like I said, I love
you were talking about releasing, letting go of memories and doing this work with your partner.
Just the non-accumulation of things. So it was just something that obviously my other course brought to attention, and that's it. We just need to let it all go. You know what I mean? You hear that phrase, oh, just let it go. And it's like, well, what the bloody hell do you mean when you say that? Let it go, you know? But really, it's an allowing and an unfolding of our own true nature to come through, and our own consciousness to come through, and our own heart to come through. And like I say, let anything that's not serving us fall behind. So
can I ask you, okay, so there's another person who I absolutely love and admire that does a lot of posting on Facebook, and Linda McGillis, and I'm okay saying her name. She's amazing, and I've learned a great deal from her, and I've connected. I've done one interview with her, and she often speaks about my truth, your truth, kind of back and forth thing where, you know, and I'm just curious, what are your thoughts about, you know, when somebody comes forward and says, this is my truth? As far as the shadow aspect of that, because there are things that I, you know, I've had experience. So I'll use myself as an example. I have experiences throughout my life that have been part of what has help create the personality self that I have, which is the ego self, which I am not a person that says condemn the ego and the ego is no good and you have to, you know, do away with it. This is our personality self. We navigate through this, you know, through our experiences by having a personality that is whatever it is, right? But we are altered, if you will, or conditioned or trained, so to speak, learned through our experiences and the wisdom that we gain. And so one may say, well, this is my truth. This is what I experienced and this is my truth. So what are your thoughts about that? Like, okay, because there's so many people saying, say for instance, and I'm just using it as an example, like the history of our galactic history. And so many people remember it one way and another group remembers it this way and another one, you know.
Well, that's it exactly. So, I mean, there is absolute truth, you know, which is there are stars in the sky, there is a sun in the sky, you know, and there's movement of planets and whatever we, you know, we hold up, we can, you know, the gravity is there. There are absolute truths. And then there is everybody else's personal essence and truth, because we do all come here for really the same reason, to become better, to evolve. But the thing is, because we are consciousness experiencing itself through every individual soul fragment on this planet, or however it is scattered throughout the universe, there is no one way. And so because consciousness has to experience itself through all of us, then everybody shouldn't have the same truth. Because even though you and I love shadow work, we love wisdom, we want to help people grow, come out of themselves and come back to themselves, but you and I are very individual. And whereas I suppose you have this wonderful kind of fiery soul and nature, and you are so passionate and you love so hard and so deeply, and you do, and to me that would be part of your truth. For me, it's like everything about me is like, I love energy work. I love anything to do with energy, transmutation, removing blockages, the aura, the energetic bodies, and all of this kind of thing. And for me, working with that and seeing people on that level, loving them just like you do, seeing people on that level, that's my truth. But we have so much in common that our paths and our souls have met right now. And like I say, we have so much in common, but we still have our individuality. And I feel that's where our own personal truths come in.
Well, it's part of having, you know, our autonomy to be able to be. It's okay to have uniqueness about who and what you are.
Yes.
And this idea that we're, you know, because even talking about unity, I'd rather say harmony than unity for myself. Think if we're in harmony within ourselves, you know, harmony within and without, and we're responsible for the energy we bring, the information we share to the best of our ability, not to just be, you know, because I have a tendency, like I've been told that I, what's the word, preach. I have family members that you just preach about, and I'm like, okay, you call it preaching. No, I call this is
That's
it's important for me. Yeah, it's a passion, exactly. And but I have learned, I realize that some people are just not there to receive it. So I don't waste my time, or if I want to say waste my time, you know,
Discernment
I
is
had to
all
find
right.
a balance with it, because especially when you first wake up and you go through your own dark night of the soul, and you know, you're doing inner work, and then you finally kind of hit a plateau where you're like balancing, and you're, you know, you're kind of like this rather than like this, and way over here somewhere, but you're finding some, you want to share it with people. It's like when you find a piece of chocolate and you want to say, here, Emma, try this, it's so amazing. But some people aren't ready, you know, for that. And
I had to learn that. I had to learn that lesson so much, because I want to fix everybody. I just want to, you know, it's like I want to take. I can see that little dark nugget there. I'm just gonna pick that out. You don't need this. I'm just gonna get rid of it for you.
yes.
And people are like, what did you just do there? I didn't know I want that. And it's like, no, honestly, you don't. And it's like, no, some people are just not ready. And so I have to be so restrained with myself sometimes, because I'm just like, really,
well,
and I want to go in.
Right? We have to be graceful.
Yes.
Allow people to, you know, offer the gift of grace that we've been gifted. That we, I think it's part of being a woman in our nature too.
I'm an Aries. I don't have grace.
Yes. You're an Aries?
I'm an Aries. I don't have grace. I'm about as subtle as a big brick to the head. You know, I don't. And I really am sorry about that. You know, I don't.
You don't have to be sorry about anything. I love you just the way you are.
I don't intentionally want to hurt anybody or go out to hurt anybody. I'm not malicious, but it's just like, hey, look, you know, you want to grow, let's do that shit then. You know, I don't mess about. I don't mess about. But yes,
I can be that way too. I can be a bit direct sometimes, but usually, as you know, I don't know, and maybe it's my, you know, well, I can't. You know, I'm so ready to do shadow work with you, because there's a part of me that I have a difficult time, and I don't consider myself pompous and arrogant. So I may see it in other people, and I don't consider myself that way. When I'm around people that are pompous and arrogant, then my goes up like, who the heck do you think you are, kind of thing. Like, and so I have to work on that, because I don't need to, I can just walk away, but I'm not the best at that.
There's a difference between arrogance and strength. There's a difference between sort of kind of being full of yourself and having passion and having a will, you know. So there's, I mean, again, this is one thing that we do in shadow work, is actually find our will again, because we're so kind of like complacent and order following, and I'm just going to go along with the crowd, and I'm just going, you know, to actually turn away from that. It takes force, it takes will, it takes practice. You can't just, changing from one life to another doesn't happen just like that. You can notice it, you can want it, but we've always got to do that work to make that change. And like I say, sometimes it can be a bit clunky, sometimes it can be a bit uncomfortable, but really, if you really want it that bad, then it's worth every step, it's worth every stumble, you know. For me, I've been doing it many years, and oh my God, I made such a mess of it at the beginning.
Well, you know what else too, Emma? I noticed that everything that I judge in other people, not everything, but, okay, let me rephrase that. Things that I find that I don't really care, and, you know, that I, judge, that I don't care in other people, I notice that I will become that. Does that make sense? Like,
judging is actually very much part of, oh, I think you're frozen, but judging is very much, I'll just carry on talking because I don't know if you can hear me or not, is very much a part of the human.
Are you there? Emma? I think we've lost Emma.
Hello, did you get any of that?
I didn't. It went out
Don't
and came
worry.
back in, but that's okay. We'll.
Well, the thing is, it's like judging is a very, very normal part of the human psyche. I know we do, you know, we can get it up and oh, I don't really want to judge her and all this kind of thing. But judging is so normal and so part of the human psyche because, you know, without judgment, how are we going to judge circumstances, situations, even things like distance? You know what I mean? Judging a distance, you know, it's all that's part of our development. And so judging is a very much a part of normal life. It's when we turn that judgment inwards and when we put that judgment upon ourselves, that's when the energy starts to break down. And like I say, we start getting the negative talk and all that kind of thing. But again, but if we
And also real quick, because I do definitely want to hear the rest of what you're sharing, but I realize judging people to condemn them or to put them down, to make ourselves feel better than or above or superior, that's the condemnation that I don't care for. And I'm not going to say that I've never done that in my life, but I can honestly say if I've ever behaved in that way, it's usually because I'm not feeling so great about myself, and I want to, you know, look down upon somebody else in order to make myself feel like I'm.
Again, this is what we're taught to do, and it's so normal.
Well,
But
I don't
again,
do it. Yeah, I'm aware of it now that I nip that in the bud real quick because I know it's my own. It's.
well, that's it. We can repurpose that and turn it around. You see,
Right.
And again with the ego, when we're pointing that finger, those three are pointing back at us. But then this is a tool to repurpose the ego because the ego isn't bad. I love my ego. My ego's been there to look after me, to take care of me, to protect me all of my life. All
Right.
of my life. It's just that now that I'm aware of it, I'm just letting it know and repurposing it and retraining it. So the language it uses, it doesn't have to use anymore. You know what I mean?
I love that. That is so freaking fabulous what you just said.
So
Yes.
so you hear what the ego's saying. It's like, okay, ego, I hear what you're saying, but I don't need that advice anymore. Now we get to turn that around to and flip it over to whatever we need, or
That
to
is correct.
whatever the other person in front of us needs.
Yes. And that is what you just shared is so very important, if anything, in this whole video right now, because when you start practicing doing that and you really become self-aware and like super conscious of your own behaviors, your own thoughts, what's truly coming from the heart rather than the ego, you start living from the space of your heart, and all the other stuff feels so uncomfortable because it's like, why am I doing that? I don't want it. It's not about it's not about rejecting an aspect of herself. It's saying, no, I'm choosing a different behavior. I'm choosing something that feels better. I'm choosing something that's more in harmony with others, that kind of thing. So and what you just said is so very important. I hope people really got that, like I just received it, because you explained it well. Because again, I make it my business that if I find myself being in judgment of somebody, meaning to condemn or put them down, I immediately have to look back at myself and just say, okay, Ida, what's going on? Why has this become such a focus? Why is this? Because I catch myself like zeroed in on people and want to break them down and dissect them and understand, you know, what it is about them that bothers me so badly, right? And and it's just another way to evade my own feelings, to not recognize my own shortcomings, my own character defects, if you will. And I'm all about, it feels good to do the inner work. I can say that. It didn't in the beginning. I was, like you said, confused, scared, you know, call it whatever it was. It was years, several years of sitting with myself and then having these ins and outs with family members and people and old friends, letting them go, wanting to invite new people in my life, but not having done the inner work enough to really be open to, you know, and now I'm really, I've come so far and I'm thankful, but I
Yeah, I
had
mean,
to do a
even
lot of work. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, even if somebody isn't doing any kind of personal development, just having the intent and the motion of moving forward to raise their frequency, to raise their vibration, or to change their habits because they realize something's not wrong, even if we don't know exactly where we want to go. If we know we don't want this behavior anymore, we want to be better, even that movement within ourselves will bring things up that we need to release. So, and even if we can't find those blind spots, just knowing that you want to move in a different direction, in a better direction, will bring these things up for awareness and for healing. So it's like I say, it always, our soul always wants to balance us out, really. So even if we can't find what we're looking for, we know even if we don't know what we don't want, no, even if we don't know what we do want, we can move away from what we don't want. And again, that is just work. It's a little bit slower, that one, because it's like, okay, I'm not quite sure where I'm going, but I know I don't want to be there, and it will bring things up for surfacing. So it's, again, it all comes down to your own will, your own intent. If you want to do this work, if you're aware, if you have resistance. And I mean, us talking right now is probably triggering people all over the place. And what I said on my live the other day on my page when I was talking about this is, it doesn't matter what reaction that you have, whether you resonate deeply and go, oh my God, that's just been a massive aha moment for me, or something that goes, oh my God, I don't like what she's saying. No, she's talking a load of rubbish. Doesn't matter what reaction it is. It's an opportunity to feel into exactly where you are in that moment.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. Well,
So,
I love the post that you made the other day, and I reread it again, actually, this morning. For those that aren't familiar with Emma, you could go onto Facebook if you're interested and check her out. But I can tell you what it is right now, because I felt that it was so helpful. You were talking about just the different things throughout your life, like dancing and being more present in your, hold on, I'm going to pull it up because I think it's a wonderful post that maybe some will find. If there'll be other people that listen to this broadcast, 10 massive tips and hacks for a more grounded life, a life of choice, a life of flow, a life of purpose, a life of passion. I love this post that you made, a life on your own terms. And I'm not going to go into it much further than that, but anybody that wants to find Emma Broomhall on Facebook, reach out to her, because you will find a lot of the information she posts to be valuable, helpful, and can give you some guidance in the right direction for sure. So
that's what I'm here for. That's my purpose. That's my, it didn't really matter how I kind of diverted off my path. I've always been brought to exactly the same thing: do the energy work, do the work on myself, and help other people. Help other people get through their own stuff. Help other people realize how wonderful, amazing they are. That we're all multidimensional beings, and we are so much more powerful than anybody.
Okay, can you real quick, Emma, because I know I'm hoping, I look forward to continue like doing a series of maybe 10 videos or more, if we find that it's,
I haven't even got around to all the different aspects yet. It's like this topic.
Right. So, but that's okay. We're introducing you again, but I there's no but. I trust that this will do well for those that are ready, especially people brand new coming into doing shadow work. I think this is going to be very helpful, and to remind them that there's nothing to fear, that there's no judgment here. This is a platform where you can just, know that you have support. You could reach out to myself, you could reach out to Emma, and there are many other people that are well on their way of supporting, living a, if you want to say spiritual life, you know, they have their own practices, things that they do. I think individually, everybody has. I'm not a big meditator. I love dance. I love music. I love plants. I love walks in the park in nature. I love going in the woods and getting lost. I love family gatherings. I love drumming. I love going under the full moon, those kinds of things. I'm not a big sit for hour and meditate person.
It's whatever gets you into that space of connecting to your heart and just being in that present moment where you're not thinking about anything that's gone on before, and you're not thinking about, oh, any bills that you've got to pay in the future. You're just there in your space and feeling, just feeling. That's
and
it.
that requires being present, being right here, right now. Just a few minutes ago, my mind started, and I said, no, is there something else available? Because I want to be present in this moment right now, right? I had to you're not going off in la la land somewhere, Ida, right? Because the subconscious will want to pull you away from what is happening right before you, which is the magic, which is the beauty, which is the unraveling, unveiling. Sometimes it's, you know, but I love being present here with you. This feels good to me. I don't need to go into somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of being, the reason I'm bringing this up is to show people that mastering your own self, becoming in control of your own thoughts and your process and you know, your intentions, to be present.
So powerful.
Yes.
So powerful.
We can do this. We can always bring ourselves back. Okay. What happened to me 20 years ago is not who I am today.
No.
It never was. It was an experience for me to learn, to grow. No matter what it was an experience, and I don't have to live in that anymore. I can choose this beautiful conversation with you, be present in this moment, and learn and grow and expand. And
it's just, I'm smiling so hard, my cheeks are hurting, because I'm, like I say, energy, even though we're thousands of miles apart, I can feel you. Like I'm just sat there next to the room. I'm sat right next to you there on the sofa, and we're having a nice cacao, and we're rubbing shoulders, and we're having a giggle. And you know how it feels when you're sat there and you're really so close to somebody. That's what it feels like when you have true connection. And even from thousands of miles away, that's what we have. And that's what this planet needs right now. That kind of connection.
And we need to have more. And that's why I'm so glad you were the perfect woman to invite to do this with, right? We need to be able to, and I know listen, I'm not confused. There are tons of groups and people and women that are doing amazing work, and I admire them all, and I give credit where it's due. And but in this space here now on this channel, I want to invite more people in this space of a loving, non-judgmental platform where people can come and have a listen, because I'm willing to put myself out there and maybe do some shadow work on camera with you to unveil and expose more of myself. You know, if there's I'm pretty outgoing, and I'm pretty like, there's nothing to hide with me, but that I'm aware of, at least, right? I'm pretty transparent and open, because I've learned to really accept myself wholly, and I mean that WHOLLY, wholly, right? And love all aspects of myself to the best of my ability. I still have shadow. I know I still have work. I can sometimes go in a battle in my mind, but I definitely do my best to bring it back to being in the present moment and not living way too far out there. Doesn't mean we don't set goals. It says, what can I do today for one step towards that goal? And not get so far ahead of ourselves that it seems so big and you can't accomplish nothing that way because you've now.
That's where procrastination sets in. You think, oh my
Right.
God, I've got to do all that work and I've got all that way to go. And it's like, and all of a sudden we just get stuck in fear and then we'd end up doing nothing. And it's like,
Well,
no.
that's right. I did that for a while. I'll be the first one to
Yeah.
admit it. I
Yeah,
did,
me too.
but I've pulled myself. I've gotten, you know, with the help of you and some other people, and more importantly, with the self, my own. I am like getting honest with myself, saying, okay, no, nobody's gonna pick you up and carry you anywhere, Ida. Nobody's gonna come banging at your door and saying, oh, here's, you know, your abundance. Go do what you will. You have to create that for yourself. And I'm not talking about just financial abundance. I'm talking about healthy relationships, loving connections, people that we can trust and know got our back, and I can share information with and know I can trust you, Emma. I already know that. And I love to have those kinds of relationships. And I would like to be able to trust. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But I've become so in tune with myself that if I'm in the presence of somebody that I feel any kind of resistance to at this point, I know the difference whether it's me and my own fears or if it's something I really need to be aware of. Yeah. And I've learned to really decipher or listen to my own intuition. I ignored it for a long time. I just didn't want to believe certain things. And part of it was, check this out, not wanting to be responsible for myself, right? You don't think that, but it's, yeah. If I listen to myself, then that means I have to take full responsibility for myself, and I have nobody to blame anymore. I mean, really.
Well, that's called being the victim, isn't it? When everything is everybody else's fault. It's everybody else is to blame. It's never your fault. It's because of situations and circumstances, and they've done this to me, they've done that to me. It's not fair. Well, actually, okay, yes, terrible things can happen around us and to us, but it's our absolutely full responsibility on how we react and respond to those things. Yeah, it's out of our hands if anything outside of ourselves happens to us. I get that. Horrible things happen, absolutely, truly. But like I say, it is completely down to us how we react, how we respond, how we're going to take that on board, how we're going to figure things out. And, you know, for me, crikey, I used to like shout and bawl and God knows what, and, you know, blame everybody, and it's not fair, and why doesn't nice things happen to me and all this kind of thing. But like I say, the mind and the heart are so powerful that when we think and feel those things, that's all our experience is going to be. And like I say, when we can turn that around to gratitude, raising our charge, raising our energy, raising our frequency. And this is what this manifestation comes in really here, but that's another topic altogether. You know, it's such a different energetic coming from a victim space, and then or then turning that around and coming from, hang on a minute, I realize that's happened to me, but then coming from an empowering space of how am I going to move through this, rather than why is life happening to me? It's life is happening for me. Yes, not to me, that's right, but for me. Yes. So and how you're going to respond to that. And it's like, okay, well, this situation is happening for me. What's here to learn? How can I move through this? How can I grow through this? How is this going to make me expand? How can I love the other person? How can I accept somebody else, especially if, you know, you do have somebody you're trying to have a conversation with, or they're a little bit more unconscious, or they're very angry about something, and, you know, and they're right there in your face. You know, we can always respond with hostility and anger back. You know, I used to do that all the time, but that doesn't get us anywhere. We know this. So how is it that I can love myself in this moment? How is it can I love the situation or somebody else in this moment? It always comes back to that, and it always comes back to our choice. Always. Well,
that's interesting that you say that. I went to visit my sister in Louisiana, and there was an incident. I was talking about the jab, and I won't go into that because I don't want, you know, and talking with a man that his son goes to my sister's school. Long story short, being the youngest of 12 kids, yeah,
I love that.
I've always had this issue with not being heard, or feeling like I'm not being heard, being told to be quiet, misunderstood, all of these things that as an adult, the inner child, if you want to say that, if we even screams for no, don't shut me up anymore. I don't want to be told be quiet. But I realized through some shadow work and introspection that some things are inappropriate, that my indignant attitude or self, what's the word I want to use? I had it. Where I am adamant that I'm going to be heard no matter how it affects anybody else, basically. And this indignant right that I have.
Yes.
Okay. And I realized that in a big way.
I understand that completely.
Rita, I don't know what it is between you and I absolutely apologize for my part in that. And I didn't hear it till I heard it, where she would say, Ida, it's too much. You're too much. You know, this isn't the time. You're preaching. And I'm like, no, don't you tell me not to.
Yes,
really
authority. Don't you tell me what to do. I will.
Yes. And it just got.
I am the same. I was the same because I'm still working through that thing. And it's like, you will hear me, and I'm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I laugh because I saw it when you. But I will
tell you this: it was the first time that my sister apologized to me first. Because usually I'm always the one, if there's a disagreement or some kind of, challenging conversation, I'm always the one coming back and apologizing, even when I'm not, or at least I don't feel that I'm wrong. We always have a part in it, no matter how much we think somebody else is, right? So, but I'm always the one making the first effort to making peace or whatever. And she did say, Ida, I apologize. I think she kind of felt like understood for the first time how much it bothered me to, it was that aha moment that had to play itself out for me to recognize my own stuff and for her to have just a minute of understanding of this, if you want to call it rage or anger or frustration that I have built up through my 52 years of my life of being told that what I have to say is not valuable, that I basically have zeroed in on this jab thing, which I do think is an important topic for sure. But there are some that really believe it's helpful. That's their choice, their belief system. They don't understand me. I don't understand them. It's okay, right? Like, yep. We can respect each other's choices and walk away, whatever. But I made it about that topic, but really it was so much more from years and years and years of yes. And I finally realized, like, Ida, no, you're wrong. You're the one, you need to own it and realize that your rage, your anger, your frustration, it stems from something that has really nothing to do with that topic. And more to do with you.
I just interject a little bit of shadow work, but you are also completely justified for feeling like that because you were suppressed, oppressed, shut down, told to shut up, unvalued, and all of that stuff. So whereas like you are aware of it, please know that you are justified to feel like that. You don't have to blame anybody or go after anybody for it, but know that you are justified to feel like that. You are not wrong for feeling like that because things happened around you and to you that then affected us and brought these experiences and our behaviors about. So yes, that's what I mean. Even though these things happen to you and you are justified to feel angry and lost and left out and lonely and, you for, shutting me up and all, because I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. But it's okay. You are completely justified to feel like that. It's okay. You can let it out. But like I say, it is our responsibility now how to deal with that. Now we know. Now it's in awareness. It's up to us to take full responsibility for ourselves.
That is so right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
But you're not wrong for feeling like that, just so you know.
Yeah. Thank you, Emma.
Welcome.
I appreciate that. I needed that because for so long I did feel like is there, I mean, why am I wrong? Or why? Okay, so it's not, I've never been one to I don't like the victim mentality. Like, even sometimes I have to soften up myself with other people and get out of the fucking victim mode and snap out of it, right? And I've never given myself, I don't want to be, nobody wants to be a victim. I'm not a victim, okay? So, but I do want to be heard. I don't know how to explain what I'm saying. Does that make sense? I never looked at myself like a victim. I just wanted to be understood and understand why. Why did these things?
That's the thing. We haven't got, I mean, I don't even know how much time we've got left, actually.
Yeah, we've got about 7 minutes.
Okay.
But we are definitely going to, I'm hoping to do this once a week.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There are different aspects then. And the one aspect that you're in right now is the inner child piece. And again, there are so many sort of tools within that. Like I say, the inner child piece, oh yeah, you just go in and you heal your inner child. It's not about that. It's about circumstances and situations, different people, how we, different scenarios that we made mean something about ourselves. So everything that you're saying right now is that inner child that didn't get her needs met, that didn't get heard, that has this frustration, that has this rage, for not being loved in the right way. So you know what I mean? That is just one piece, the inner child piece. Then obviously we have the ego piece. Then we have ancestral healing, and then we have entity removal. I mean, we and then we've got how deep the siphoning of energy, how deep it goes in the human race, and how deep that goes, and there are all these different aspects. And like I say, then you have interference, and then you have energetic blocks, and then you have the trauma. So there's all these different pieces that come in. And so shadow work isn't sort of just one thing. Like I say, there's inner child, there's ancestral work, there's entity work, there's ego work. There's so many different aspects to it. And so yes, each topic can be hours and hours and hours worth of content. And like I say, I've been doing this for 4 years now. I've been in teaching, coaching, training, practicing shadow work with my mentor. And like I say, even just sat here with you, I'm still doing the work. I haven't arrived anywhere, really. I may be a few steps ahead of some people, but I haven't arrived anywhere. I still do the work with every client that I have, even with every conversation I have with you. It's always about that growth. We're always doing the work. For me, I'm always doing the work. I don't do anything to people. You know what I mean? That's not my job. I don't do anything to people. All I do is there to be a guide, a catalyst, just a transformational catalyst, someone who is there to show the way of your own inner space, your own inner navigation. I'm just here to sort of guide
navigate you through
So I don't.
So can I ask you this, because we're going to be ending.
Yes,
first
please.
off, okay. Yes. So you'll send me all your information so I can. I think you did it for our first one, but just in case, send me all your personal information on Messenger. So when I upload this to YouTube, I can give contact information for people to reach out to you. One. I also. So this is just the introduction to let people know that we're going to be doing a series of videos around shadow work and how to integrate, and we're going to be talking about topics like what you just talked about, from inner child to shadow to
entity removal, alien interference.
Yes,
that's always a good one.
Yes. So I am so looking forward to doing this series with you.
Oh, and there's also MK Ultra and hybrid and hybridization and abduction as well in astral realms and in energetical realms, not just literally flying through windows and doors, but literally getting kidnapped in our astral realm. So whole heaps of topics to
I
really.
am so excited to do this with you, and I have some experience myself. So, and know some things myself. So I think this is going to be fabulous for the audience. I look forward to working with you, co-creating with you. And
Yes.
it is my intention to bring valuable information to those that are seeking it, that are ready to do the deep dive, that are ready to be received and loved and honored and valued just where they're at.
Yes.
And we're not here to change anybody, but to help those that are ready for change in their own life, to help guide them and show them the ways that have worked for us. And we're still learning. You never arrive, people. I say that all the time. You never arrive. There's always more, but it, and it may be scary or fun or laugh. We could laugh one day, cry the next, but the whole thing is that we are doing it and we're showing up for each other. And more importantly, we are showing up for ourselves.
Yes.
That's right. So I love you, Emma.
Shadow work isn't as horrible or as dark as it sounds anyway.
No,
but
and then there's a liberation, and there's another liberation, and there's, each level or each layer, there's more liberation and more, integrating ourself into wholeness of great. Yes. I just love you. I love you. I think you're amazing. So I'm excited for this, and I know other people are going to be excited.
Perfect.
So,
awesome.
So any last, maybe we got 5 minutes, last few things that you might want to say, and please forward the information to me. Share your contact information.
Yes, I will. I will send you all the contact information. I think we've covered basically, the introduction tonight. Like I say, there's so many aspects, and we can get into those at another time. And so, because they are just massive topics and subjects on their own. So I hope people have enjoyed it, and I hope people tune in. I hope people have got value. If anybody has any questions, please ask. Don't be afraid. Be a little bit brave. Ask for some help.
Yes, you can leave messages in the comment. Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt you, but quickly, because we're going to be ending. In the comment section, after you've listened to this video, once it's uploaded, if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section. I will write them down, and next week, when Emma and I do our second, this is going to be a series, and we're just going to run with it. There's no, I don't know how many we're going to do, but we're here, and we're present, and we're willing to do it with you and invite you to do it. So write the questions down, and then I'll write them down for Emma, and then I'll ask her, and we'll get some answers. And if there's any questions you have for me or for Emma, we'll do our best to answer them, or at least give you some guidance where you may be able to find more information.
And I can always bring a clearing. I can always bring a certain meditation as well to give people a taste of what it feels like to move through these things and clear fields and that kind of thing. So I can bring a little bit of that as well.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm very excited. So I will be reaching out to you next week for our next time. I'm going to assume that we'll be gathering or getting, doing it around the same time.
We'll figure the time out. I'm sure we can figure out something better for everybody. So
Okay, very good. All right. Thank you, Emma. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing this and with me. I'm so excited to do this work with you and to share with others. And this is exciting. And my heart is smiling big time right now.
My cheeks hurting.
Yes, thank you. I love you, sister. And until we meet again. Okay. Have a wonderful evening.
And you.